It's been practically confirmed that Cody Rhodes is returning to WWE. He reportedly signed a contract a couple of weeks ago and was even scheduled to show up to Monday Night Raw on the episode in Jacksonville, Florida. However, that was before Scott Hall unfortunately passed away. A big return did not seem like the right call anymore. The WWE didn't want to take attention away from the legend, and with that being said, it is inevitable that Cody Rhodes is going to be coming back anytime soon. And so the What If series is returning today. We're going to take a look at a timeline where Cody does come back, and I'm going to show you how WWE should basically book his first year back. I will admit it might be a little crazy, but I think WWE has something really special with Cody Rhodes. Anyways, let's get right into the video. I was thinking long and hard about how WWE could debut Cody Rhodes, and keeping it a secret would lead to a pretty big pop from the WWE audience. While that is a good idea, I think it would be even better if WWE announces it. It would piss off so many people. If you're wondering why WWE is going to try to make people mad in this timeline, it's because Cody is coming as a heel. I thought that the gimmick he had towards the ending of his AEW run was genius, and we need to carry it over. Cody is basically the Homelander of wrestling for those of you who watch The Boys from Amazon. He's a villain who sees himself as a hero when he's really not. The WWE is going to tweet out that Cody Rhodes returns tonight on Raw, the complete opposite approach to the AEW method of keeping things a surprise. Piss off the hardcore fans, that is what you need to do. For the actual segment, Vince McMahon will personally come out and introduce him to a massive contract signing in the main event of Raw. That is when a frustrated Seth Rollins will interrupt him out of anger that he doesn't have a Mania match, and this is what Vince is worried about. And in that moment right there, McMahon has a fascinated expression and books the match right there. It's going to be Cody versus Seth. Vince says that it will be one of the biggest matches of the weekend, therefore he makes it the main event of night one, despite that Ronda and Charlotte were given that spot. That announcement would draw so much heat because a lot of people would be like, wow, you did Ronda and Charlotte dirty, even though a lot of them are complaining about them right now. You know how the IWC is. Cody comes back and Vince is already treating him like a god. To be fair, it is one of his biggest investments ever, so you gotta do what you gotta do. Eventually in the feud, Triple H will get involved and he will join Seth Rollins' side. The WrestleMania main event will be Cody with Vince in his corner versus Seth with Hunter in his corner. Let's fast forward to WrestleMania 38. The two put on a banger of a match in the main event. Seth Rollins gets some close calls, but ultimately, Cody Rhodes wins the match pretty clean. Triple H and Vince will enter the ring, and both of them will raise Cody's hand, and therefore they are choosing him as their next top guy. You see, this match was created to see who should be the face of Raw, and Cody winning it solidified that. Moving forward, Triple H will now be paired with Rhodes on screen. Just imagine how much hate these two would generate together. Pairing the two people with the biggest egos in the business and having them join forces would be terrible, and that is why I love this decision. This is the beginning of the new authority featuring Cody, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon. Don't worry, there are going to be more additions to the group later on, but I just don't want to spoil that yet. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns wins his match against Brock Lesnar with the titles on the line on night 2. However, he throws the WWE Championship on the ground, therefore relinquishing it. Reigns does not care about that title whatsoever. To him, it means nothing. The man has been saying that since 2020, and this proves it. This is important because now Raw will need a new champion. With Raw not having a WWE champion anymore, the WWE announces a tournament for the title and the finals culminate at Backlash. Triple H says that Cody Rhodes is bypassing everyone and is already in the finals. Everyone else has to earn a spot to face him at the pay-per-view in the finals. I'm sure that would piss off a lot of the IWC as well. Homelander Cody Rhodes just continues to draw some heat. Seth Rollins eventually wins, reaching the finals, setting up a rematch for Backlash with the WWE Championship on the line. It's Backlash and the title is on the line, which makes it even more interesting. That makes this match much more important than the WrestleMania bouts. Again, These two put on quite the performance. Towards the ending of the match, the referee gets knocked down. Triple H points to someone in the crowd and calls for him to come over, and it's actually Brandi Rhodes making her debut by coming into the ring and giving Cody a golden sledgehammer. He uses it, whacks Rollins in the head, and wins the match. Brandi is now officially joining the New Authority, which makes them even more annoying. Cody is now the WWE champ as well. The show closes with Cody, Brandi, Triple H, and Stephanie all standing tall over a beaten Rollins, and goddamn, the amount of heat those four would draw is crazy. Cody Rhodes has now beaten Seth Rollins twice. The second time was cheap though, and Rollins comes out to Raw after a week of rehabbing from the sledgehammer spot. He comes out and he cuts a promo saying that this isn't the Cody Rhodes that changed the wrestling business. This isn't the Cody Rhodes that Tony Khan would be proud of. This is a corporate sellout that is terrible for business. Rollins would know a thing or two about working with Triple H. It never ends well for anyone. He challenges Cody to one more match, this time inside the Hell in a Cell structure, so there isn't any cheating involved. Rollins adds that he won't ever wrestle Cody for the title as long as he is champion if he loses. And if Cody doesn't accept, Rollins is just going to keep coming after him week after week after week. Therefore, Cody Rhodes basically does not have a choice. He accepts it, and he's going to get the job done and get rid of Rollins. The WWE Champion also has enough confidence after beating him a couple of times in the past. The match takes place. It's a brutal fight because the feud has been going on for a few months, and they absolutely hate each other. But Cody Rhodes, in the end, wins the match without any help to end the feud with Seth Rollins. In July, the Money in the Bank pay-per-view is next, and I think that Cody Rhodes should just have a little quick feud with a top worker, and there aren't too many people that are better than AJ Styles in the game right now, and Cody and AJ never also fought, so I think this would be the perfect dream matchup for the WWE title at Money in the Bank. There's not too much about this feud other than AJ wants a title match, Cody accepts, and the two begin their feud with a contract signing and all that kind of stuff. AJ Styles gets the match, he loses the match, Cody Rhodes wins, making this only a better title reign thus far. Cody Rhodes is going to need a big-time feud for SummerSlam. I think Randy Orton is the perfect opponent for him. These two have so much history together since 2008. They worked together, they fought against each other, and Orton was a very important piece of Cody's WWE career and his history of his entire wrestling career. The two also work really well together as well. The story is there too. Randy Orton sees how Triple H is using Cody Rhodes right now while he's hot. He did it to him in 2013, and he tries to tell Cody that he's going to get rid of him the minute that he doesn't see any value in him. Rhodes does not believe that. He says things are different now because this version of Cody is better than the 2013 Orton or even the 2015 Rollins. Cody literally sees himself as a god in the business that nobody can touch. Rhodes says that he's going to show him once he beats him to retain his title at SummerSlam. At the pay-per-view, it is a no-holds-barred match because these two have too much hate for each other to the point where a singles match wouldn't even work. That is when we see the return of a tag team that is going to be paired with Cody Rhodes and The Authority. That tag team is The Revival. They are coming back to WWE. This time, they are with Cody, and I think their time in AEW won't last forever, and they haven't been doing too much in that company either. Their contracts are also reportedly coming to an end soon, and I got a feeling that they could work with Rhodes and Hunter in this storyline. They will essentially be the bodyguards, and they'll have a tag team championship reign as well. The Revival will pretend that they're going to help Orton, because if you remember, the three had a little thing going on back in 2018. It was FTRKO. Then they show their true colors, that they're working for the Machine and were sent by Triple H. It also helps having them around Triple H because he clearly booked them well when they were down in NXT. The Revival helps Cody win the match, and he retains the title. After the bout, the three of them proceed to beat up Randy Orton because they want to eliminate the threats. That's when Matt Riddle tries coming out to the rescue, but Triple H just hits him with a pedigree. Cody Rhodes then hits him with 2 punts to keep him out of action for a couple of months, and yes, this is also a callback to the WrestleMania moment when Randy Orton punted Cody. Orton is now going to be taken away by a stretcher, and that is how you close SummerSlam. The next pay-per-view is Extreme Rules, and Matt Riddle is going to fight on behalf of his bro. That was not cool of Cody, and he wants to defend his bro. The feud is set, and the match is scheduled to take place without a stipulation. This really doesn't need one. Cody Rhodes isn't sweating it too much because he thinks Matt Riddle honestly sucks. Therefore, he doesn't even request for anyone to come out in his corner. He's going to do this one by himself, and that was a big mistake because Riddle surprises him in the match. You can never undermine someone in wrestling, especially someone with a UFC background. As James Ellsworth would say, any man with two hands has a fighting chance. Matthew actually almost wins the match at one point, but Cody Rhodes kicks out, but he does have a completely shocked expression like, whoa, I almost just lost to this bum. It would be embarrassing for his title reign to come to an end like that. This is when things really switch up, and Cody begins to put more effort in the match, and once he does so, he has a lot more control of it, and after hitting a crossroads, the match comes to an end. Cody's early anxious face turns into a smirk as he realizes that he is much better than Riddle. The next pay-per-view is going to be Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia, and I'm sure this is going to get quite the reaction from the AEW roster and a good amount of the IWC. Cody Rhodes has to go because he is the WWE champion and he needs to defend the title, so he does. That bonus also makes him want to go even more. It's a lot of money if you know what I mean. Anyways, Matt Riddle wants one more match for the title, and Cody gladly accepts because he knows that this would be another easy fight if he takes it more seriously from the beginning of the match. And that's when Riddle sets up a bro tract. You see what I did there? Riddle likes to use the word bro, and it's like a contract, and that's how you got bro tracts. Anyways, you can't make this stuff up. That is gold. The contract states that there is going to be a rematch for the WWE title, and there cannot be any interference, otherwise Cody will lose his title. Cody signs the contract with a smile on his face like, boy, this is going to be an easy one. Riddle then says thanks, he gets up, and he leaves. But when he leaves, that is when he slips on his way out to the ring on purpose, and he oversells it and screams in excruciating pain. Riddle grabs a mic while he's on the ground screaming and says he might have just broken his back, and he even winks to Cody Rhodes. This confuses the crap out of Rhodes. He does not know what to think of the situation, and that's when Riddle says, bro, flip the bro tract, and that's when he does it, and Cody Rhodes sees that it says if Riddle cannot compete due to an injury, only a true bro can replace him, and Cody's starting to process what that means, and then boom, out of nowhere, Orton comes back with an RKO to Cody Rhodes. Riddle is giving up his title match because he feels bad for Orton, who was screwed at SummerSlam. The rematch is set for Crown Jewel between Randy and Cody. It's a hard-fought battle, but Cody retains and barely gets out of Saudi Arabia with this title. Survivor Series is going to feature a huge match for the main event. It is a champion versus champion match. The WWE champ Cody Rhodes takes on the Universal champion Roman Reigns. The two biggest stars that the WWE have been building up for the last year are going head to head. On one hand, you have Cody's camp with Triple H, Brandy, Stephanie, and the Revival. On the other hand, you have Roman's camp with Paul Heyman and the Usos. This is the definition of a big fight feel. It's too bad that Triple H and Cody have different plans for the night. They are going to do business for themselves. It is going to be the Boston screw job because deep down Triple H is afraid that Roman Reigns could win this match and make Cody look bad, and he does not want to take that risk. Therefore, the two are going to get in the ring with the referee getting ready to start the match, but that cannot happen until both men are in their corners, and that is a problem. They keep getting in each other's faces, pushing each other, trying to get into beef right before the match starts. The referee is trying to restore order so we can properly start the match. The crowd is booing because at this point, it's been 10 minutes of a ton of BS. Triple H enters the ring and he tells Cody, get in your damn corner. And then he goes to Roman Reigns and he says, get in your damn corner. And you cannot do that to Roman Reigns. You cannot disrespect him like that. Roman doesn't listen and he gets in Triple H's face. And then Triple H says, you know what? Boom! He hits him with a pedigree. Hunter then calls for Sami Zayn to come out to the ring. And Sami Zayn sprints to the ring with his Money in the Bank briefcase. And yes, that is the Money in the Bank winner. And this is the screw job. The Revival take care of the Usos. Sami Sami Zayn cashes in and even hits a haluva kick. Roman still kicks out because he's a beast. A pedigree and a haluva kick is not enough. One more haluva kick and it is all over. Triple H and Cody leave. The match never happens. Sami Zayn wins the Universal title, and that is how Roman loses his title and takes the first pin in 600 days. You might be annoyed at this, and that is the point. It makes Triple H and Cody Rhodes even more hated. It creates sympathy for the tweener now, Roman Reigns, that is coming for Cody Rhodes, and it ruins the match. It ruins the title reign. It is a bad look for Cody, and that is why he's a great villain. I also think that Sami would do a perfect job of selling this moment and victory, and it's nice to see him win the title. It's also a massive callback to what happened at SummerSlam 2013. Triple H just screws people over left and right, and that is something that Rhodes should look out for. Roman Reigns is coming for his revenge, but in the meantime, WWE sets up a singles match for the WWE Championship between Cody Rhodes and longtime rival Rey Mysterio. The company is really putting a lot of effort in making Day 1 a really special pay-per-view, and I feel like this is a good match that will get people excited, and a lot of the casuals know these two guys. You know, Cody Rhodes will obviously win the match, and this is also going to set up his next small feud for the Royal Rumble against Dominic Mysterio. After Cody Rhodes made Rey Mysterio look like a fool, Dominic comes up to challenge him for the WWE title at the Royal Rumble, and Rhodes is literally just going around ruining wrestling families and legacy. So he says, you know what, I'm down. You love to see it. Anyways, this is an easy win for Cody, but it also helps and puts Dominic in the spotlight. The bigger story at the Royal Rumble, though, is Roman Reigns. He's entering the Rumble, and he said that he's going to win it, and when he does so, he wants to come for Cody and his title. He's taking down the entire damn authority. Nobody disrespects a tribal chief and gets away with it. Therefore, Roman Reigns enters the Rumble at number 7 and completely dominates everyone in his path. The amount of anger he has at this point is being taken out on everyone. Nobody is an exception. Reigns will have 12 eliminations towards the ending of the match, and the surprise number 30th entrant is none other than Cody Rhodes. Triple H used his power to put Cody in that spot, so hopefully they could prevent this match from happening. The last two in the Rumble are Rhodes and Reigns. Roman will win by clotheslining Cody out of the ring. As Reigns is looking down at Cody on the ground, he points at the WrestleMania sign, and the match is set. Like I said, the WrestleMania main event is happening. It is Cody Rhodes versus Roman for the WWE title. But before we can get there, we're going to have a special contract signing at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Yes, Cody Rhodes versus Roman, it has such a big fight feel to it that the contract signing is going to take place at an actual pay-per-view. I also don't think there's enough room for another mini feud. It would just be pointless and a waste of time. Instead, it's far more interesting to see Cody and Roman cut some great promos against each other. After they're done cutting their promos, all hell breaks loose between both parties. There's a big brawl with Cody, Triple H, Paul Heyman even gets involved, the Revival, and the Usos. The Authority gets the upper hand eventually, and that is when we get a surprising return from none other than The Rock, who comes out to save his family. You see, I would love to see The Rock versus Roman, but that doesn't seem like it's happening because The Rock can't afford an injury like he did at WrestleMania 29. Therefore, he'll be at Roman's corner for WrestleMania, and he will help Roman out in this brawl as well. The show ends with a people's elbow to Cash or Dax, it doesn't really matter, and the segment just got people even more excited for Mania 39. It's WrestleMania in Los Angeles. The main event is Cody Rhodes with Triple H in his corner versus Roman with The Rock in his corner. It literally does not get any bigger than this. The story has been building up for an entire year. The Rhodes legacy is on the line. The same with the Anoa'i family. To add more stakes, the legendary and iconic WWE Championship is being defended. This is the match to watch. It's a really good one with a lot of storytelling elements, and there's even a point where Cody and Roman get knocked out, and that's when we see an interaction with Triple H and The Rock throwing punches at each other just like old times. Roman Reigns ultimately wins the match, becoming the WWE Champion. Cody is seen looking broken, Triple H is embarrassed, The Rock and Roman stand tall, generating a great reaction, the crowd is sent home happy, and we need to see what is going to unfold with Cody moving forward. On the Raw after WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes, The Revival, and Triple H come out to the ring, and Hunter talks about the rebuilding process. He says that Cody Rhodes will be back on top in no time, and it'll be better than ever. And while he's cutting this promo, you hear Vince McMahon coming out, and he looks angry. He takes the mic from Triple H, and he calls him out, telling him that he can never do anything right, whether that's keeping Bryan out of the title picture in 2014, making NXT a success, or even losing the ratings war to Tony Khan. Vince says that this is just another failed Triple H experiment. He continues by saying that his daughter married the wrong man. She ended up with a total loser. And right after that, Cody Rhodes hits a crossroads on Triple H. He grabs the microphone and he says that Triple H is a waste of space in the business and should retire. That's when he says that we are going to rebuild ourselves, referring to himself and the Revival. And Vince McMahon approves and says that they could use a new addition to the new Four Horsemen. They could use a Flair. And Charlotte comes out and joins the group while they work on becoming a powerful faction. This would be the beginning of a WrestleMania 40 feud between Hunter and Cody, and that should be Triple H's retirement match if he's healthy enough to wrestle. And that is my timeline of Cody Rhodes returning to WWE. Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. I'll see you all in the next video.